Hello and welcome to another edition of the Hitting the Hardwood podcast, your home for all the latest Minnesota Lynx and WNBA news, analysis, and coverage. Thank you for tuning into another episode. I'm your host, Mitchell Hansen, and I want to be the first person to wish you a happy holidays. Okay, maybe I'm not the first person, but I want to wish all of our listeners, all of our Hitting the Hardwood supporters, and all of you who listen every week, every episode, I want to wish you all a very happy holidays. A very happy new year. It's hard to believe we're at the end of the calendar year already. I feel like it was just 4th of July and we were in mid-season. But it's here, and it's exciting because we're gonna flip the calendar to 2025, and that means the WNBA is almost here. The new season will almost be here. We'll obviously have some exciting off-season basketball for maybe the first time ever, as far as players staying overseas or staying home rather than going overseas, and playing in leagues here in the United States, which will kick off in January and continue in February across the United States, which is great. But as we're in that transition period, as we're getting ready to flip our calendars from 24 to 25, I am really excited about the guests that I have this week. We talked a little bit about the 2024 season for the Minnesota Lynx. This off-season, exciting off-season leagues that I just mentioned, that being Unrivaled and Athletes Unlimited, but specifically Unrivaled, that are taking place this off-season here in the United States. We talked a little bit about just the off-season at large and in the 2025 season. And the person that I'm very excited to share with you that I have as a guest this week is the person that I've had the second time, or this is the second time that I've had this person on the podcast, but it's one of my favorite players on the Minnesota Lynx roster, and that being Kayla McBride. K-Mac is so awesome to listen to talk to. She's so insightful and she's so thoughtful with her answers all the time, and she's a great conversation. So I appreciate K-Mac. Appreciate her taking the time out of her schedule to chat about 24 and to look ahead to 2025 here as we get ready to begin January. But without further ado, let's jump right into the podcast here with Minnesota Lynx guard Kayla McBride. Kayla McBride, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Can't complain. Can't complain.
Good deal. Well, first off, how are the last few months? How's the off season been for you so far, and what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, obviously, gut-wrenching way to end the season. It was tough, but having this break has been really great. I got to host my first Thanksgiving. I passed out Halloween candy. I got kind of settled into my new house. I just took some like really great mental and physical rest.
Mm-hmm.
And really just chilled. Like I'm down in Charlotte, so putting my house together. Just catching up on sleep, hanging out, just being a normal person, instead of having to run off to be overseas. Just kind of got to enjoy the everyday slow life.
Yeah.
And I may be addicted now, so I don't think I'll ever go back.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about the kind of what your plans are for the off season. A lot of people obviously already know that and what your plans are, but what I guess first of all, what's it been like for you to have an off season? I mean, like you said, you normally you're right away, you're going overseas, you're playing overseas, you're getting on a plane going somewhere as soon as the season's over. What has it been like for you to be here and not have to worry about that?
Yeah, it was an adjustment. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like normally, I'm kind of used to the routine and the schedule of just kind of going over there playing. I genuinely do love playing basketball, so like not being able to go and be in a locker room and stuff like that. Like I do miss that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a little bit of time adjusting, but it didn't take me long.
Yeah.
And so it's been tough. And like I said, the way the season ended, you kind of just want to jump back in and
Mm-hmm.
forget about it and kind of go back to your normal programming. But I think it was just really good for me to take the time mentally, physically. I've been doing it like back to back to back for a long time. And so once I finally sat down and just reflected a little bit, I was really glad that I stayed back for me mostly, but also like for my career. And
Yeah.
obviously, I have some big things coming up in January too. So just want to take that time to just like reset, which has been really great for me mentally, physically, slowly getting back on the court. So and I feel great. I feel actually rested for the first time. I didn't even know what that felt like. So it's been cool. It's been really, really cool. And just being able to be around my family. I'm the oldest of four. has been really beneficial for me. Like I said, just to be able to like kind of reset, I think has
Yep.
been the best part.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we jump into what's going on here in January and what we'll be starting, kind of looking back on the year that was. I know you've gotten this question a million times, but if you could just kind of describe what the season was like. Obviously, it ended in disappointment and kind of, like you said, the kind of that gut-wrenching way. But what was the year like in totality now that you look back on it?
Oh, it was one of my favorite seasons I think thus far as a pro. Our group was just so special from top to bottom, and we just did it our own way. I think the way that the league has transformed and these so-called like super teams,
Mhm.
we just did it like the basic organic way, for each other, and I think that was the biggest thing that I took away from it. I missed my teammates when the season was over, missed being around them, missed just showing up to work every day. And that just is a testament to who those people were in the locker room. And that's something that like you always carry with you, because you go through so many different seasons, different teammates, things like that. And so I think when you really can just like sit back and like look at the special season we had and look at the special people that we had in our locker room, you're just very like fortunate. You look back and it's like, wow, like that was really special. What we were able to do with each other, for each other. It was just a really special time for Minnesota Lynx basketball for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You wrapped up your fourth season, not only your fourth season in Minnesota, but you've been in the league for a while. You've been on a lot of teams throughout your career.
Mm-hmm.
Was this team different? Was there something different about this team that you've ever experienced before?
For sure. I think it was just more so like where everybody was in their own journey, their
Hmm.
personal journey. It just meshed very well. And, adding Land, adding T, adding Court. Um, Fee had an MVP type of season. Bridge had her breakout season. Um, just being a vet and just being able to be playing some of the best basketball. Like we just all relied on each other to just be ourselves.
Hmm.
And like I said, it was just so organic. Like nobody had to do anything outside of themselves. And that was the best part about it. Like we were really just coming in, hoping, enjoying figuring it out together. And it worked,
Hmm.
and I just think like, especially when you're on a team and the pro level, it doesn't always happen that way. And so, like I said, it's just a testament to those women and their journeys and like just finding each other at the right time. Because if you would have said it maybe 3, 4 years ago, where I was, where Courtney was, where T was, like we might not have been able to be who we needed to be for each other, but it just ended up working out perfectly. And it feels good when it just happens like organically, like I said.
Yeah. You could tell like there was people, I mean, even now after the season, people still talk about whether it's coaches in the league. I mean, you talk about Eric Tebow, who we'll talk about him just a little bit, but during his introductory press conference, he said when they played you guys, and they being Washington in the preseason, he could tell right away. And it seemed like it was right away at training camp all the way to the end. You guys just meshed so well. You had chemistry really
Mm-hmm.
well. And yeah, I mean that has to be, I mean, that has to be special. Not only that you're enjoying playing basketball together, but like you've said, and what have others have said throughout the years, you guys just enjoyed being around each other, which is maybe even more impressive.
Yeah, that's the best part, because you have a lot of bus rides, you have a lot of long practices, film sessions, and just genuinely like showing up for each other,
Hmm.
and caring about each other on and off the court, like authentically. It just changes everything, changes the whole dynamic. Because when things are bad, they're not as bad. When things are good, they're great.
Hmm.
When you have the chemistry that we did, so I think that saw us through a lot of tough times. The season's long. Fee was out for like 10 games, with the injury. You have the Olympic break, like that can like rattle some teams. And I think that we just kind of came together even more, in the adverse situations because we cared about each other and like being the best versions of ourselves, in order to make this thing work. So, I was just really proud to say that like I was a part of that team. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's something that you always remember. And obviously, like I said, it's gut wrenching, but I'm just knowing how we did it and we did it together. That's like the most beautiful part.
Hmm. Absolutely. Kind of shifting focus to the off season. You mentioned it. You're going to be remaining here in the United States, which is awesome. This off season playing in Unrivaled. What is it going to be like for you to not only play with some familiar faces on the other team, but also or on the other teams, excuse me, but also to just be a part of a league like this that is groundbreaking, essentially.
For sure. And I think the league's going to be around long after I'm done
Hmm.
playing. But, it's really special to me specifically because when I first came in the league, it was like you go overseas or you stay home and like just work out. And so now just be a part of all these different options that these women are able to have, and just where women's basketball is in general. I think it's just it's groundbreaking. It's been obviously the inaugural season, and I'm pumped. I mean, Miami in January doesn't sound too bad, and then obviously I get to I get to play with Courtney, and against Fee, but just being able to kind of just dive into something and be able to play against some of the best players in the world in
Right.
the off season, getting leading up to the 2025, like it's really dope. And like I said, just to be a part of the inaugural 36 now, I guess,
Hmm.
players, is really really cool. Because saying you're like one of the top 35, 40 players in the league, being able to go down to Miami and just hoop, is really exciting. And it seems like they're going to be, pulling out the red carpet for us. So
Yeah.
it's just like a long time coming for women's basketball. And so to say that you're like part of this blazing of the trail for the next generation is really, really cool. And I'm super proud of Fee and Stewie for even, having this idea and being able to bring us into it because, like I said, where women's basketball is right now, it's just like a perfect time um, to just continue to build on our exposure and where women's basketball is right now. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. It'll be great. It's a great way to get ready for the season too.
Hmm.
3-on-3, so I'll definitely be in shape.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Not only will you have, familiar faces from around the league too, but you have Minnesota ties. Obviously, Claire DeWellius is now
Hmm.
the new GM. I mean, you have Fee, you have or Courtney Williams, you have Fee's husband Alex. He'll be around. I mean, is it kind of nice to have those familiar faces, especially with something that's kind of new to you at the same time?
For 100%. And that was one of my main reasons for doing it is knowing that Fee was involved,
Hmm.
along with Stewie, who I know well too. So like I said, it was just like an opportunity you couldn't pass up.
Right.
Whether it goes great or it doesn't go great, whatever. Just being able to say that you're part of the first is going to be awesome. And like I said, I think it's going to be around long after I'm done playing too.
Hmm.
And so to be a part of that first one is really cool. But it definitely helps having Claire, who was like one of my first contacts when I got to Mini. Fee, obviously. Hopefully Mila will be running around. So it's always good to see friendly faces, familiar faces, because when you spend 4 years with people, they become like family. So
Right.
yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta ask, has there been trash talking before? Has there been?
Nah,
No, no, nothing.
he's not a trash talker really. Anyway, me and Courtney will get our jabs in when we feel the need for it.
He
But
just
for
kills
now,
you with
I'm just
silence.
talking about UConn, Notre Dame trash right now to Fee, and that's been satisfactory enough.
Is she more of a like kill you with silence kind of person? Is that her
Kinda.
thing?
She like yesterday. She was just like, "Yeah, we're gonna beat you guys," like, And I'm like, "All right, we'll see." And then I was happily able to post and tag her in my Instagram of the final score. So that was, like I said, satisfying enough. Sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of this off season, you talked well, kind of to the point that you just said, Ty, or what you had just said a little bit ago of the WNBA and just women's basketball is here year round now. I mean, not only with this in the off season with Unrivaled, but you obviously have the college game, but the WNBA itself this year maybe a little bit more than other years. It's been kind of nonstop. I mean, we've had news whether it's coaching changes or shifts around the league, or whatever it may be. We have free agency obviously coming up here in the next month and two, but the it's a little bit of a different offseason as well with the expansion draft. And that's something that's going to be not only this offseason, but next offseason. What was that like for you? Obviously, you probably didn't. I don't know this for a fact, but I would assume that you were one of the protected players, so you had nothing to worry about. But what
Hmm.
was it like for you to see that and to just kind of to I don't know go through that for the first time?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And it's even crazier to think that we have to go through it twice next year. And then, like, with the
Right.
CBA, it's going to be even more of a shakeup. So I was surprised to seeing all the coaching changes
Hmm.
um, at first. Obviously, super happy to have Eric with us now. But, just seeing all these coaches being removed after such a monumental season, in my opinion, was a surprise. But I think that's what happens when businesses grow,
Hmm.
like the WNBA has, and just the shakeup. Like, bringing college coaches in and things like that with the NIL. Like, there's so many things that like have crossed paths.
Hmm.
Um, and like I said, just where the WNBA is right now, is sky's the limit. I think it's just it has been crazy to be a part of too. Because I remember 11 years ago coming into this league, playing in San Antonio, and then like now being in Minnesota. which is already a legacy organization already at that point. And now saying you're a part of it and like seeing where everything is going to grow now that the Valkyries coming. So yeah, it's crazy. And obviously with the expansion draft, you never want to see any of your teammates go. I was sad to see Chechi go, but she's a bucket, and it's a great opportunity for her. And I think that's what it's about, is creating more opportunities for great players, and for a great league. And I just think that that's just where we are right now, where there's going to be a lot of shakeups. There's a lot of people moving on, into greater roles and having better and more opportunities. And that's what you want as a league. That's what you want for like the people that you care about, that have been putting the time in, that have been in this league for a while. You want to see them continue to grow outside of the WNBA, and on, because that's the name of the game. That's what happens when you're doing the right things as a league. And so yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard. And like I said, I think it's gonna be even crazier after this next season. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. You kind of talked a little bit about the coaching changes, and that was one of the next things I wanted to talk to you about. Was you have a couple new assistants now. You obviously Eric Tebow and Lindsay Whalen being added to the coaching staff. What do you know about them, or what have you, I guess, gotten to know with them, or gotten familiar with them over their time here? And I guess what are you looking forward to with that relationship, as well as with Cheryl and with BB on the coaching staff?
For sure. And I wasn't familiar with Eric specifically. I had always known his dad, Coach T, because he's been around forever in the league. And I've always admired the Mystics and how they do things anyway. I think it's like kind of almost like a mirror. Like we always play against them in preseason and things like that. Same schemes, like similar schemes. Obviously not all the same, but it's very similar. And so having him with us now, especially after his head coaching experience, I think is really cool. He's great basketball mind. I got to talk to him a little bit over the time with the press conference and things like that. And then he was also at Georgetown because he's still moving on from DC. And so I was able to kind of chat it up with him a little bit when I was visiting my sister. So yeah, I'm really excited about building that relationship and just building off his knowledge. And he's been in the league for a long time too, and just like a basketball junkie, which is awesome. Because I love hoop and I love talking about it. So he's been great in that aspect, and I'm excited to continue to build that relationship. But then with Way, it's like now you have a real Hoopers mentality, and it's just a legend and legacy of Minnesota. And I got to be on the court with her this week a little bit with Court, and it's just the energy, man. Like you can't really replace or duplicate somebody who's actually been in your shoes. Especially coming off what happened last season, having a fresh face. And her, obviously I was really sad to see Katie go. She was one of my favorite people ever, and I wouldn't have been able to do these things that I've been able to do this last year without her. And she knows that. So that was hard. But having Wade step in and just that fresh face, that fresh energy, and just wanting to be a part of what we have going on, and just a great person. I'm really excited to get to learn from her because she's been through the ebbs and flows of seasons and what it's like coming off not winning a championship the year before and having to show up and start all over from scratch. So when you have somebody with that energy and that knowledge and that experience, and just being able to be a sponge from her, we're excited about it for sure. I mean, internally, and obviously she's just a legend, and somebody who you played against, who has had numerous accolades and has just been in our shoes. I think, like I said, you really can't duplicate what she can provide for us on an everyday basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we have the off season that still has to transpire, and we're months away from the 2025 season. But kind of looking ahead, before we get to, or before we flip to the new year, just kind of want to look at the 2025 season. You have a lot of familiar faces returning, which is a good thing with next year's roster. But there are some open spots. What do you, not necessarily with the roster, but what do you expect from this team in general, and hopefully trying to run it back in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially having our starting five back is just so huge. As far as free agency, we just want people that want to be here, that want to help us win a championship. And that's really it. That's all it is now, and that's kind of above my pay grade specifically, but I'm really excited to see how things shake up. There's a lot of great players in this league. And I know that we're going to be looking for great people as well. So I'm really excited. But I really think that we have a strong foundation in who we are and what we built last year, especially as a starting five. And, Coach has a lot of faith in who we are as a group. And being able to, so whoever comes in, just being able to kind of trickle that down and get us over to the mountaintops. So that's really all it's about. And just bringing great people who want to be a part of the Lynx and just want to be an add to what we already had, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, K-Mac, I really appreciate you joining. I appreciate taking the time out of your schedule as you're getting ready for staying here, which is great for
Mm-hmm.
the upcoming off season for yourself. But I appreciate you taking some time. I always appreciate our conversations that we do have, and I look forward to watching you more this off season, more actually
For sure.
for the first time. So I look
I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
yeah, I look forward to it, and I look forward to the 2025 season and catching up with you here again soon.
Awesome. I appreciate you so much.
All right, well, you take care.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you once again to K-Mac for joining the podcast this week. As I mentioned before the recording started, she is one of the most insightful people that I think I've ever, especially players that I've ever talked to, listened to. K-Mac is awesome. She always has time. She always treats everybody well. She's always treated me well. And I really, she's one of the good ones, one of the most genuine players that I've been around as well. And I really appreciate her time. Really excited about her off season and watching her in Unrivaled. And I'm also really excited to see her back in a Lynx uniform in 2025 to see what her and the rest of the team can accomplish here next season. I also want to give a shout out to Jeremy Rushing for producing this podcast every week. He does a great job on the back end, making sure that I sound less crazy than I actually do, which is no easy task. But I appreciate you, Jeremy, and everything that you do for Hitting the Hardwood. It's hard to believe that we've been partnering for over 2 years now. So I do appreciate it. You're the one that kind of brought up the idea. So for Jeremy, I appreciate you. And hopefully all the listeners appreciate you as bring this up as an idea and making it become possible. So appreciate you, Jeremy. Thank you for all that you do for Hitting the Hardwood. Also, I want to give a shout out to our 3 partners. But before I do that, I want to talk about our Patreon page. For honestly, just a couple bucks a month, you can choose what membership tier you'd like. But just for a couple bucks a month, if you're able to, go check out our Patreon page, support our work. Anything that you can do, any support that you can provide us, will go towards the longevity of this podcast and ensuring that we can continue to do this on a monthly basis and here in the off season and on an every other week basis in the regular season. But continuing to do it for years on out. Anything that you can do at patreon.com/hitting hardwood. Like I said, would go a long way, and I know I'd be incredibly appreciative if you could at least just check that out. Maybe give it a try, give it a 7-day free trial, and if you enjoy it, please consider becoming a member and becoming a patron because you'll get exclusive news that you won't get anywhere else. You get stories before anybody else. You get podcasts before anybody else. And it's a way that I like to give back as far as giving out exclusive news to specifically our patrons. So I appreciate all of you that already are patrons, and I encourage you to, if you're able to, please check that out at patreon.com/hitting the hardwood. So as I mentioned, our 3 partners, I want to give them a big shout out: Fantasy Sports Evo, Better Edge, and Homage. All 3 are phenomenal. I've had nothing but a great experience with all 3 of our partners, and they've been longtime supporters of Hitting the Hardwood. They've been longtime supporters of the WNBA, of women's basketball, and they're equally as dedicated to helping improve the game and just kind of grow the game more so than anything else. And like I said, it's been a great partnership with all of them. And I encourage you to please go check them out. You can go check out our website. You can find the website link on any of our social media channels. But check out our website and go to our partners tab. That's where you'll find all of the information on our partners. There's some promo codes and discounts and links and other information on that page that is well worth your time. And please go check all of them out because they support the WNBA, and I like to, in women's basketball, and I like to support people that do that as well as people that support Hitting the Hardwood. So appreciate Fantasy Sports Evo, Better Edge, and Homage. And above all, I really do appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate you all listening every week as you do, or every episode as you do all the time. It's great to see the interaction of this kind of podcast community, which is kind of crazy to think about because I never anticipated that I would do something like this. But it's been great. Your guys' support has been awesome. I could not do it without you. Thank you for another great 2024. This will probably be the last podcast of 2024 before we flip over to 2025. So I just want to once again thank you for a phenomenal year. And I look forward to a successful year to come and successful years to come as we flip over to 2025 and continue to move along with this thing. So appreciate all of you. We will talk to you soon. Happy holidays once again, and I wish you all a new year, and we'll talk to you next time.